Good evening, everyone. Chief Meteorologist James Zahara here in the Storm Track 8 Weather Center, and glad you can join us on our News 8 app. We're going to give you the latest information, what's going on as far as that first wave of snow, and then keep an eye on that second wave that could cause some accumulation in most, not all, of our hometowns. Let's first talk about the visibility and, more importantly, some of the road conditions that are going on, starting off with our Bridgepoint camera, and all looking good. The pace of the car is a lot better, so we're kind of dealing with some wet roadways that have been taking place right on the I-74 bridge itself. I'm going to go and make our way to all the other cameras that we have on Interstate 74. Yeah, I got about 12 cameras here, as long as they're all working. And as you can see, the roads are wet, but certainly travelable, and that is some very good news indeed with that wave of snow that made its way through. I'm going to actually cover up this, let's see, we're going to go to the road conditions. So we know what's going on locally. We're going to make our way across eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. Now, of course, we've been seeing some wet roadways and some of the bridges and overpasses locally around here, but you can see, especially along and east of the river, we're still noticing 100% snow cover across the area. How much snow has actually fallen? Not a whole heck of a lot. I think we've had numbers range from a ½ inch of snow, like we've been seeing in the Quad Cities, to over 1.5 inches that we've been noticing in some hometowns more north and east of the Quad Cities. That's not a lot, but of course, most accidents usually happen when you have about 1 inch of snow or less. So you gotta be extra cautious and just take it slow, especially some of those roadways that are a bit untreated across the area. That snow has now made its way off to the east. The timing coming in and coming out across the area is perfect. This is around 8 o'clock, and you can see how that snow has now made its way right across the Chicagoland area. So that is some good news. Just a lot of clouds off to the west of us, but I want to go a bit more farther west, because right there, and actually, we can actually advance this a little bit more. That system is going to bring in some more of that moisture right there from parts of Colorado and going into Kansas. So that area of low pressure has actually shifted a bit more to the east, right along the Colorado-Kansas border. But this is the next wave that's coming in, mostly in the form of some scattered snow showers that we're anticipating on our Saturday. But areas just south of the Quad Cities, especially right along the Iowa-Missouri border, and points eastward into west central Illinois, temperatures may be warm enough that we could be seeing even a brief mix of some snow and freezing rain. And I want to emphasize the word brief when it comes to that time. And I think we may be talking about sometime in the morning for that to take place. But this is going to be mainly a snow event that we are expected to see. So this is why we have our weather impact alert for that potential for seeing some additional snow across the area. And that is shaded in that purple area that you see here for that winter weather advisory. So mainly around the immediate Quad Cities and points northward is where we could potentially see that much snow, where the 2-inch line is right around the immediate Quad Cities. And then farther north as you go, from Monticello, Maquoketa, even around Galena, you got a really good chance of seeing snowfall amounts maybe as high as 4 inches. And given the temperatures that we're looking at, yeah, I think we may be talking once again, like for our incident early this evening, of seeing maybe some of that wet compact snow. And we could, like we saw this evening, get some bursts of snow with that as well, okay? So the bottom line here, as we mentioned on the early evening newscast, just take it nice and slow. This is, once again, kind of the low end of our weather impact alert. So we certainly want to make sure that you are well aware, especially if you're heading out of town or even just around eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois as we make our way into tomorrow. Now, right now, temperatures aren't too bad. See a lot of numbers in the 20s, upper teens around Stockton. These numbers are not going to change much at all, okay? So that is actually some pretty good news. Numbers will be holding steady around the 20s, even though skies will be really cloudy. And keep in mind, with the air already saturated, we really can't rule out a few innocent snowflakes late tonight. Can't even rule out maybe some spotty freezing drizzle. And I think, once again, we may be focusing more of that in areas south of the Quad Cities. If we had to present you with kind of a timeline on what is going to be taking place, here it is. We got the first wave that made its way through here, kind of gave us about 1 inch of snowfall. And now we got this little break, and then the next wave will be developing as we get to about maybe 8 o'clock in the morning to about 4 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, that's where we'll be seeing periods of snow take place. Maybe a little burst of snow can't be ruled out as well, but this could very likely add up to maybe a couple of more inches across the area. And once that moves on by, then we start seeing some pretty cold numbers to take place after that. We don't expect to see that come our Saturday, as we are expecting those temperatures to actually make their way right around the freezing part of 32 degrees. A little bit warmer to our south. That's why we can't rule out a brief mix that may take place around Mount Pleasant, Galesburg, and Burlington. And if there's any type of ice accumulation, it's actually going to be under a tenth. So I'm not too worried about driving around on the main roadways. Just be a little cautious on those secondary roadways when it comes to those conditions that we're looking at. Now, I'm going to go and try and make our way into Sunday here, because this is where we start really seeing a big change in our temperatures. We'll very likely start off with numbers in the lower 20s come Sunday, maybe for the first half of the day. And then as we get into the afternoon, look at the drop in numbers we'll see after that. Definitely mid-teens in a lot of our hometowns. I'm going to move the clock, that's in the upper right-hand corner, all the way to Monday morning. And these are the air temperatures that we are looking at, air temperatures, and that's going to be below zero across the area. And even colder still in some isolated areas as well. And we even have to factor in the wind. And that's going to be the biggest concern that we see when it comes to those early mornings, especially Monday and Tuesday, as this bubble of frigid air just settles across the entire Midwest for pretty much most of the week. So the numbers you see on the left-hand side, those blue numbers, that's representing the temperature by around those morning hours. So you can see 5 below in Monday morning, 9 below in both Tuesday and Wednesday morning, 10 below by Thursday morning. The strongest of the winds are still expected to take place around Monday and Tuesday morning. At least enough wind to drop those wind chills between 20, maybe even as cold as 30 degrees below zero, especially in those outlying areas more north and west of the Quad Cities. And we continue with even those minus teens going into about Wednesday and even around Thursday as well. Okay, so this is where we're talking about some serious cold. And I'll put this on the record, folks. If this should be, given the time of the year, this should be the longest real cold stretch of weather that we see for the rest of the season. Because I think after that, we finally begin to turn things around. It makes the atmosphere a bit more challenging to drop these temperatures like we're anticipating as we make our way into next week. So that's why we have our weather impact alert stretching from Sunday night, Monday morning, all the way through Thursday. Now, we're really going to be focusing on those mornings. That's when the coldest of the air is going to be felt. That's when the coldest wind chills are going to be felt as well. But when you're dealing with those daytime highs in the single digits, maybe reaching 10 by Thursday, you're still going to have enough wind to keep those wind chills below zero. Fairly quiet weather that we see, and then by the time we get to the weekend itself, that's when we'll start seeing those temperatures really begin to improve. This is our 14-day tracker. This is exclusive. No one else around here has a forecast quite like this. But when we talk about our 14-day tracker, it kind of gives us a really good trend of what we're anticipating. And you can see the trend going into the weekend and the days to follow looking so much better. Keep in mind the normal high for this time of year is around 36, and we certainly may be above that as we head into that week after the following weekend. So that's kind of what we're looking at, and the trend, once again, is looking pretty dry to go with it as well. So that is kind of the latest that we have right now. All I can say is, watch out for those periods of snow across the area. A few snow showers are going to be popping up, and we could be seeing some of that accumulation take place. Like I said, I would think about in the immediate Quad Cities, we'll probably be adding about 2 inches. You go farther north toward like Galena, Dubuque, 4 inches. Farther south of the Quad Cities, it really drops maybe under an inch. Could be dealing with some rain mixed in that's going to really hold back those temperatures for areas south of the Quad Cities, and that is for tomorrow. After that, not much as far as any organized snow that we see in the days ahead. Of course, we will be giving you another update coming up here at News 8 at 10. And of course, catch meteorologist Morgan Strackbine on Good Morning Quad Cities come tomorrow morning. We hope to see you then.